Some aspects of federalism, pardon me, that you need to retain. We talked about horizontal separation of powers, legislature, executive, and judiciary. There's also vertical separation of powers. What does that mean? It means the balance and separation of powers among the national or federal government and the state and local governments. And this entire system is called federalism. So horizontal separation of powers, the three branches, vertical separation or balancing or power sharing or power division is federalism, national and state governments. You need to know the types of federalism, and we're going to talk about them. Federalism is set up in the Constitution, including in the important, necessary, and proper clause in Article 1, Section 8. This means that the Congress can make a bunch of laws, but anything that isn't given to the national government becomes a state power. That's in Amendment 10 of the Bill of Rights. These types of federalism you need to know, and there are more types, but these are going to come up again, I promise. These are how we explain and understand our federalist system and how it should be, as well as how it actually is. Dual federalism, it means there's no overlap. The national or federal government has these powers, the state and local governments have these powers, and it's clearly different. They have different functions, different responsibilities. It's not overlapping. I would say that's not always super practical or realistic in today's times. Another way of looking at federalism is the cooperative federalism approach, the marble cake metaphor. Anytime you look at one area, such as infrastructure, roads, how we handle natural disasters, you will generally find a mixture of national and state powers, functions, and responsibilities. You also need to know what pragmatic federalism is. This is the idea that dual federalism and cooperative federalism, the ones we just looked at, are operating depending on the situation. They're both operating. It's pragmatic is just another word for practical, what makes sense. And also it kind of means that it's what maybe there wasn't a master plan for every aspect of how this sharing or division of powers between national and state governments would work. And so it just kind of worked out that way. So in real life, your book says in chapter 4, it's just more what makes sense on a practical level, such as the New Deal programs that we looked at last week. And finally, type 4 of federalism is coercive federalism. This means that the national government can tell the states what to do. And in some cases, they do. Restraints and mandates. Restraints mean you cannot do this, and mandates mean states you must do this. One example is instead of having all different kinds of state driver's licenses, now everybody needs a real ID, and this is due to a national policy. Okay. It's important to also know in federalism the types of grants. There are four types mentioned in chapter 4 of your textbook that we cover in week 2. And so categorical versus block grants have to do with a specific versus a broad purpose and how the funds may be used. And these are grants from the national or federal government to the states. And then in the state, such as Ohio, they might be able to then give grants to cities and counties around Ohio. Other two types of grants from national or federal government to the states are formula versus competitive grants. The formula ones are what they sound like. The numbers have to say you should get this grant, and competitive is like you apply for it and try to show that you have the best idea and plan and you're set up well to use this money in a good way. Hopefully you watched the video here about a certain type of education grants. All right. And then, pardon me, um, please consider how states often want their rights with freedom from the national or federal government, but also this cause has been used as an excuse to maintain inequality and treat many Americans as less than. Um, and we're also seeing some issues on the other side of the political spectrum, you might say, with states' rights now, with what's going on in Minnesota, which is kind of like a huge deal, as the as federal law enforcement um, and the state are kind of clashing, you could say. All right. Those were the main topics I wanted just to recap from week 2 for you. And thank you. Talk to you soon.